let's go ahead to the D&M Leasing Hotline and welcome in our Audacy NFL insider, Mark Schlereth, brought to you by Hellman's Mayonnaise. Mayo Game Day be delicious. Happy New Year, Mark. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic, bro. Fantastic. We just got word that Ezekiel Elliott has been released, and get this, Mark, they're trying to get him on a playoff team. Maybe you can go help somebody win a Super Bowl, 3.1 yards per carry. What say you?
Good luck. I mean, every time they give him the ball, I think to myself when I'm watching, why? Like, why would you do that? But hey, good luck, hey, man. That'd be great. I'd love to see him get an opportunity to, contribute. I just don't. He's not going to play special teams. He's like, I don't know. Like at some point, you got to watch yourself on film. Yeah, here's how I figured out. I sucked. Okay, you ready? Like at the end of my career, I was coming off several knee injuries, several knee surgeries. Had a knee surgery, came back to practice. It's snowing outside. I'm in Denver. We're outdoors. I'm only taking a few reps here and there. And it got snowing so hard you couldn't really see the numbers on the jerseys. They're old faded out jerseys we're wearing in practice. And I'm watching this kid who I thought was a practice squad player, and he's taking reps. And I'm like, oh, my God, that kid sucks. I'm thinking this in my head. That kid sucks. He's never going to play in this league. And then I go, wait a minute, rewind that. And I look closer. I put my glasses on, and I go, oh, shoot, that's me. Like that, like it was that bad. And I was like, it is time to stop playing because I'm no longer a help to the team. I'm a hindrance. And, and that's when in my mind, I knew it was over, man. It just is, it takes its toll on your body, and you can see it in Zeke, no question about it.
Stink, when you get to that point, though, is that the most difficult thing for a player? I mean, you saw it because, you're like, oh, wow, that's me, but you knew it. But is that the most difficult thing for a player to know when that day comes?
Yeah, I think it's really hard, especially, in my case, I could always play, and I could always play well injured.
Right.
And so that was always like my superpower is I'm not only going to go out and play injured and like I could have a surgery on a Monday and play on Sunday and grade out like really high. Mm-hmm. And I always was able to do that kind of mind over matter. And when my body just said, nope, I ain't doing it anymore. And I couldn't overcome that mentally, man. It was devastating to me because, I always pride myself on being, mentally just tougher than the injuries. Like I just was like, I am going to fight through this. And not only am I going to go out here feeling like crap, I'm going to whip your ass feeling like crap. And there was a sense of pride in being able to do that. And I did that throughout my entire career. And when my body just kind of gave up and quit and I couldn't will it to do the things I wanted it to do anymore, it's a really tough realization for you as a player. You're just like, oh my gosh, I've always been able to do this and I can't do it anymore. And you feel like you're letting your team down. You feel like you're letting the organization down. It's hard, man. That's a really hard thing.
Stink, who's better between the Lions and the Vikings?
It's a great question. I think I would take the Lions offense and Jared Goff, and although, Sam Darnold's having an unbelievable year, yeah. And obviously Justin Jefferson is top notch. I mean, they're both super uber talented. I think what sets their offense apart, the Detroit Lions offense apart to me, is their O-line is big time. They are a big time performance group up front. Not that Minnesota's bad. They're not. They're very good. But I would put the Lions, on the upper echelon, them in Philadelphia. Maybe there's one or two more, but those guys are that good. Defensively, they scare me though. That it's funny. I did week 4 game in Arizona with Detroit. And I'm watching last night very intently because I've got San Francisco this weekend. And I'm like, holy Moses. Like, I recognize Kirby Joseph, and Brian Branch and Jack Campbell. And that's about where it begins and where it ends. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 guys on their defense that were there in week 4 when I called the game. So it was really, it was really like eye-opening to me sitting there watching it.
Stink, should the Eagles go for the record with Barkley on Sunday?
Hell yes.
I knew this was going to come in.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, listen, man, I get it. I would sit there and say, here we go. Like, if I'm coaching that team, first off, I would talk to Saquon about it because it means a lot. Like if you watch him break the 2,000, they panned to Jeff Stoutland, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the business, man, and he's jacked up. And guys are jacked up, and they're celebrating Saquon. And Saquon is one of those guys that to me is like connective tissue within a locker room. He bonds together defense and offense and special teams. He's just that guy. And I know this, man, when I was playing in Denver and Terrell Davis in Week 18 in a game that didn't matter to us, we had the number 1 seed. He needed 170 yards to break 2,000. I screwed Terrell. It's important to me. Yeah. Like I want this record for him, and we're very close friends. It was really important to me. It was really important to us as a group, and a really cool story, man. We're in the game, and one of our guys, he's our ops. He's in charge of ops, and his name was Bill Harple. I think it was Bill that was holding it up. It might have been somebody else, but I'm pretty sure it was Bill. But anyhow, he had a little grease board on the sideline. And every time Terrell had to rip off a run, 10, 12 yards, we'd be shouting at the sideline, like, what does he need? What does he need? And he'd write down the number for us, right, between plays. And it was like we'd get closer, and we were getting closer and closer, and all of a sudden, he breaks one off for 8 yards or something, and he goes 2007, then we pull him out of the game. And for me, I would look at that record like, hey, let's give you let's give you the ultimate try in that first half. See if you can get this thing. See where we are at the end of the first half. If we're close, and if we are, damn it, let's go get it. Let's go make history. And that's kind of how I think I would approach it. How I feel like they're going to approach it. But again, I have no clue. That's just what my gut tells me.
Who's your MVP this year, Mark?
If Saquon breaks the record, I'd take Saquon. Now, first, you've got to understand, I hate quarterbacks.
Thank you.
Quarterbacks they're not football players. They're quarterbacks, right? They don't play football. They play quarterback.
Yeah.
And, and we just bend over backwards. Like every rule in the league is bent toward their success. And yet we sit here and go, oh, the job is so hard. Oh, my goodness, how do they do it, right? Oh, like we're running a high-low concept. We're running a post over. And if the safety jumps on the over, throw the post. If he jumps, if he stays deep on the post, then throw the over. Oh, how do they figure it out? Ooh. Like, give me a break. Let's stop it. Every rule, you can't hit him. You can't look at him. It just is it's ridiculous. Let's let a football player win it. Saquon is, like I said, he's connective tissue. Let him win it. I'd love to see it.
Mark, I want to thank you so much because Eric, for the last 3 or 4 days, has tried to get every prominent guest we've had, and you put it over the top. So thank you so much.
Everybody's giving it to Barkley, Stink, and I was hoping that you were.
And Eric loves quarterbacks more than anybody, and just what you said. You should have seen his face. He was just smiling to himself because he knows how wrong he is about this. And I just want to thank you for being a great guest all year, Stink. Really appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. You guys are the best. Take care. And hey, you're only 5 plays away from winning that game.
Hey, without the scoreboard, Stink, we were right there.
We're right there, Stink.
That may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I know, dude. That was amazing. Micah Parsons, incredible. Well, who's your defensive player of the year then? Who you giving to that?
Wow, that's a great question. We always make it about sacks, and sacks are hard to get. I'm biased. Like I love watching PS2 in Denver play, but it's Denver. They're 9-7, and it's going to be hard for anybody 9-7 to win that thing. Parsons was out for so long, with the high ankle sprain. It's going to be hard for him. T.J. Watt's been amazing. I'll tell you the guy that just consistently I marvel at is Trey Hendrickson. The guy who knew Trey Hendrickson is tougher than I was. And he was going into last week, and I think he led the league in sacks. But like the first time I watched him play, that dude, watch him. He plays with no tape on his hands or fingers or gloves.
Right,
it's crazy.
Just long black sleeves.
I watch him and go, oh yeah, he's tougher than I was. Yeah. There's no way I would even think about playing a football game without tape on my fingers, and my fingers were taped up. You wouldn't believe how much tape I would use in my hands. And your hands take a beating. And for that dude to play that way, he's a great, great player. But there's a lot of them, man. There's a lot of guys. Chris Jones is incredible. There's a ton of guys that are really, really special in this league to play on the defensive side of the ball.
No doubt about it. Well, you're the man, Mark. We appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. We'll catch up with you again next week, man. Thank you.
Sounds good. Be well.